wanted an M3 ever since I was a little kid. But after this weekend, there's one big reason why that might have changed. I have to admit, experiencing the new M3 Competition is a dream come true, but there's something that has me questioning everything. M3s have always been the ultimate driving icon, setting the bar high in both performance and style. But this time, have they got the recipe wrong? Is this a new chapter for BMW, or a complete wrong turn? Watch until the end and decide for yourself. But the truth is, most of us won't get to experience these cars until they're 10 plus years old, clapped out like my cheap BMW M3 POV. So today I'm giving you an E-Series owner's perspective on the brand new M3 Competition. So what are we talking about here? It's the M3 Competition. That's the 4-door, top-of-the-line performance BMW, which almost everyone is striving to own. It's also very controversial, specifically that. So probably like you, I was one of the many vocal commentators on this controversial grille design, but I think it's actually growing on me. Seeing cars online versus in person never do them justice. And when the whole package comes together, it's actually really quite nice. It's got these beautiful LED lights, absolute goals. It's got these blue sections highlighted inside and the sweeping LED angel eyes, kind of like what I've tried to achieve on my 1 Series, except a million times better. If you're anything like me, you absolutely love carbon fiber, and this car has a ton of it. Got this bottom lip, beautiful carbon fiber. Got these vents as well on either side, carbon fiber. Side skirts. You guessed it.
Crabs on fire.
Another controversial decision, fake side vents, but at least they're in carbon fiber. This particular car doesn't have the wing mirrors in carbon fiber, and they are an updated design versus the previous F series. I think they would look super nice in carbon fiber. This one's gonna be hard to see, but this roof is completely carbon fiber. More carbon fiber at the rear with this real aggressive diffuser that spreads all the way to the sides. I believe the F series didn't have these side parts. That's definitely an upgrade. Again, I believe you can get this spec'd out in carbon fiber, but this one does not have the boot lid in carbon fiber. It's the attention to detail in these cars. You've got M-badge tire pressure, M-badge on the rims themselves, M-badge brake calipers, and M-badge on the rotors. These are not the ceramic brakes. You can get them spec'd out, but this one doesn't have it. Still a real nice package all up. Again, on the styling, potentially controversial. I like these rear lights, but however, there are some similarities to Lexus's, to Mitsubishi's even. I don't think the current design trend really nails it, but they look great in person. So we've got quad exhaust on this bad boy. Probably fistable, but I have quite large hands, so doesn't quite fit. So if we're talking looks, this car absolutely dominates my 1 Series and most E-Series BMWs as well. However, with that 160 grand price tag, you can be a bit of a critic. Overall, I'm gonna have to give this a 7.5 in the looks department. But let's be real, we're all buying this for the performance. Speaking of which, look at this absolute pristine engine bay. So the M3 Competition is powered by a 3-litre twin-turbo inline-6, same as the N54 that my 1 Series has, but a lot more powerful, a lot more refined. So the S58 is truly special. Puts out 375 kilowatts, which I believe is over 500 horsepower. On the torque side of things, it's at 650 Newton meters, which is about 500 foot-pounds. That being said, I did used to enjoy that nice reinforcement, the carbon fiber reinforcement on the F Series, although who's really complaining? This is a beautiful engine. So inside, the carbon fiber continues. Got the whole center trim in carbon fiber, as well as that passenger side section. And it doesn't stop there. The steering wheel is full of carbon fiber with these awesome carbon fiber paddle shifters. Starting things up is a real treat. So we've got the beautiful digital dash here with little M3 and all. Being a critic, I would probably prefer an analog dash with digital elements, but who's really complaining? This definitely does the job. So in addition to all this beautiful carbon fiber, we have double cup holders and we have a wireless charging dock, which It's a real treat for people like me in a 1 Series which has nowhere to put their phone, nowhere to charge their phone, so I'm really keen on this. And of course, we've got the Apple CarPlay screen. This was a real inspo for my latest mod. I'm gonna link it if you haven't seen that yet, but this is primo. This is exactly what you need, exactly what you want. So this one might be hard to see, but if you can see floating there, we've got the heads-up display. That is super handy. Reads out the speed limit as well as your current speed and has 2 settings. You can show your revs if you go into M mode as well. So from outside in economic comfort mode, it's not too loud, but it does have a variable switch for the exhaust as well as M mode, which is really cool. So this is now with the exhaust valves open and M mode on. It's hard to hear a little bit, but I'll show rev clip comparison now. Another beautiful element of these cars are the seats. They're absolutely pristine. This is another area where you can get carbon fiber. You can get carbon fiber bucket seats. I believe these are the regular bucket seats. They are beautiful, but they're not necessarily the best to sit in. I'm a tall bloke. I'm 6'3", 6'4", and I do not get the lower back support that I'm looking for. Perhaps they are adjustable a little bit further. We'll look into that more, but so far, getting a bit of a sore back driving this. So from a tech and interior perspective, you really cannot fault the new M3. The interior is beautiful. It has all the features you need, so I'm gonna have to rate it a 9 out of 10. So most importantly, how does it drive? And you guessed it, bloody brilliant. So the first thing you notice when you start driving is the steering and the overall feel. There's a lot of automation in this car, let's say. There's a setting here, essentially, cruise control and the likes, that you turn it on and in a more defined lane situation, it'll automatically drive the car for you, similar to the Teslas. It does all of the steering, all of the acceleration, all of the braking. The only problem is that when you don't have that setting on, it feels like it's subtly on in the background. Going around this corner, there's a degree of automatic turning in the steering, and honestly I'm not a major fan of it. It takes away some of the connection to the car away, but in highway drives like my drive down to where we are now, that automatic driving is a lifesaver. You absolutely can enjoy highway driving a lot more when there's a bit more automation to it. So right now, if you can see on my digital dash, I've got it in efficient and comfort. One of the main things that I absolutely love about this M3 in comparison to my E-Series is to jump into sport mode, to jump into M mode. You've got these nice little paddles here. I believe these have been around for a while. The E92 M3, I believe, also had this feature. Mine does not. To jump into sports, I'm using the gear selector, shifting it across, whereas a quick tap and you're instantly in your preset mode. We've got this in Sports Plus with the rest of the settings in Comfort. So the options are suspension, steering and brakes. You can have them on various settings. However, you don't want to go too sporty in those settings when you're on the street or on a backcountry road like I am right now. One thing I'm definitely going to say is the suspension, the handling on this car is extremely tight. You can see I'm bouncing all over the shop here. If I do swap it into M2 mode, which is sports for everything, you can instantly audibly hear it's a lot sharper and bumpier. It's stiff even in comfort mode, so generally my recommendation is to use the comfort mode. So something you might be able to hear as I'm descending down this hill is the fake engine noises. this is something I'm definitely not a fan of. They really pump up the fake engine noises coming through the speakers when you're in the higher performance modes. I don't believe my 135i has this. I can understand there's a time and a place, but especially having lived with a tuned car for quite a while, having some aftermarket exhaust, the real sound is just so much better, and there's no comparison, to be honest. Even when you put the windows down, you can really tell that there's a lot of fake sound coming through. One point that has to be mentioned is obviously this is a stock car, and I'm comparing to a Stage 2 Plus tuned car. It's not necessarily a fair comparison, as if you put some money into this car, modified a couple of bits, you could definitely get that same feeling and performance, although a hell of a lot better. However, when you've got a 160k price tag in a 1-year-old car, essentially, you're a little bit more hesitant to jump straight in and start modifying it. You've got that, destroying the value niggling in the back of your mind. I'm sure if, you're absolutely loaded and 160k is nothing, then you're going to be a little bit more trigger happy into modifying such an expensive car. I know I would be a little bit hesitant. F-Series, on the other hand, I feel they're ripe for the picking. So for all you burble tune haters, M mode in the M3 does have a little burble happening. It's very subtle when you're in the car. Not sure if you could even hear that. I'm sure outside the car it's a little more audible. However, again, if you had an aftermarket exhaust, it'd be a lot stronger. So now I've got it in M mode. If you can see the heads-up display, you'll see that I've got the throttle and each of my gears displayed on screen, which is real cool on these bendy type roads. I would love to have a heads-up display on my car, because not even having any digital speed readout, you do notice it. So if we're talking pure performance, you'd have to give this at least a 9 out of 10. Power, the delivery, the trust you can put in this machine is top notch. Comparing it to my E-Series 135i, which, keep in mind, is stage 2 plus tuned. Probably has similar torque, although not near as high power. I'd give this closer to an 8. I think through all of the technology, lane assist, automation, it's lost something. It's not as raw. Some of the connection to the actual car is gone. This is purely nitpicking. I'm gonna have to give the drivability and performance an 8.5 out of 10. So total package review. This one's a tricky one. So we gave the looks, I think I said 7.5 out of 10, tech and interior, 9 out of 10, performance and drivability, 8.5 out of 10. So if we average them out, that would have to give it an 8.5. I think that's pretty fair. And you've really got to consider the fact that this is a $160,000 car. You can buy a lot for that. If I was to invest that kind of money in a car, I personally would be looking for a cheaper base, potentially the F-Series M3, and getting some mods into that, getting it real nice and tight, and bringing the raw feeling back to it that I really enjoy. So if you've enjoyed this review or want to see more BMW content, make sure you like and subscribe. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.